Well, this is going back to the days when these bonds were introduced, and Mr. Arun Jaitley was the finance minister. And I had generally found his argument reasonably persuasive that, look, on what previously existed, and we are back to that state now after the bonds have been withdrawn, meaning, further issuance of the bonds has been withdrawn. Um, Bonds therefore to some degree was an improvement as far as I can see. Mr. Jaitley's arguments seem to make sense to me that, look, absent the bonds, we go back to the cash. And the bonds were an attempt to solve that problem, that at least, this would persuade, this would encourage the corporations to report what they are donating. So to that extent, even though that is only half transparent, the bonds would reduce the role of black money. This will all be, any money that comes through the bonds is money that is accounted for. It appears on the accounts of the corporations who are making the donations, whereas, absent these bonds, when donations are made on cash, they are not on their accounts. They're not on anybody's accounts. So in this sense, I think it was an improvement, and we will therefore end up back to where we were before these bonds were introduced. We have the privatization program, which is also part of the policy of the government, certainly the present government, privatization of public sector enterprises as well as privatization of banks. On the former, the PSEs, the government already has a policy in place, where it makes a distinction between strategic sectors and non-strategic sectors. And a large number of enterprises in non-strategic sectors can easily be, under the policy, privatized. And so that's another area of action that is part of the policy, part of the program currently. And then we get into tougher areas which really are largely in the domain of the states. One very important one is the land. Land in the Indian cities, and particularly I'm talking urban land. Urban land in India has tended to be extremely expensive, and that obviously undermines particularly manufacturing, because manufacturing is what requires a lot more space. So a lot of kind of land-related reforms have to happen. And then agriculture, which again, the central government had tried the farm laws, and now certainly the central government cannot do it. State governments will have to take lead in those.